Picture this. A casual conversation suddenly freezes. Someone just took a direct shot at you, a cutting remark about your abilities in front of others, or a snide comment from someone you trusted. In that split second, something primal activates inside you. Your jaw tightens, heat rushes to your face. Your pulse quickens, preparing your body for combat. Your brain, flooded with chemicals, offers you two classic choices: fire back with something sharp or retreat into awkward silence. Most people spend their entire lives trapped between these two options: attack or retreat. They've been conditioned to believe that winning means having the last word, and silence means surrender. But there exists a hidden third option, a secret territory inhabited by those who have conquered the most challenging terrain known to humanity, their own inner world. When disrespect arrives at your doorstep, it tests your personal authority. It's the moment you discover who truly holds the keys to your peace. If a handful of words from someone else can derail your entire day, you're not living your own life. You're just reacting to everyone else's. You're a marionette, and they've just discovered your strings. The instant you snap back without thinking, you've handed over your power. You're announcing to the world that their perception of you matters more than your own self-knowledge. And that right there is the definition of powerlessness. Not the insult itself, but the fact that it moved you. Real strength doesn't shout. It doesn't scramble to justify itself. Real strength is the capacity to remain completely still while chaos swirls around you. Think of the difference between a small boat tossed by every wave and the lighthouse that stands unmoved. The boat reacts, the lighthouse remains. In every human exchange, your attention and emotional energy are your most valuable resources. Wasting them on someone who mistreats you is like investing your life savings in a company that's already bankrupt. It's an admission that they're worthy of your internal currency. Nearly 2,000 years ago, a man who survived slavery to become one of history's greatest teachers, Epictetus, observed that no external force can harm you without your permission. He taught that we aren't disturbed by events themselves, but by the meaning we assign to them. To the trained mind, an insult is just sound waves vibrating through air. It has no power to wound unless you open the door and welcome it in. This isn't about being passive. This is about achieving total psychological dominance. It's understanding that your character is an impenetrable fortress, and the only person who can lower the drawbridge is you. When someone tries to disrespect you, they're not attacking you, they're exposing their own lack of self-command. To navigate these waters, we need to understand two distinct types of people, the reactive and the self-governing. The reactive person is a weather vane, spinning whichever way the wind blows. If someone shouts, they shout louder. If someone is cold, they freeze up. They have no center, just a series of reflexes. The self-governing person, however, operates from an internal compass. They observe the insult like a biologist studying a specimen. They see the other person's outburst for what it truly is, a moment of weakness, a cry for attention, or a failure of self-control. The self-governing person doesn't react. They choose their response, or sometimes they choose nothing at all. The first tool for reclaiming your sovereignty is the intentional pause. When the sting of disrespect hits, your biology screams for instant retaliation. You must refuse. This isn't the silence of defeat. It's the silence of someone who cannot be manipulated. By creating a gap of just 3 to 5 seconds between the insult and your response, you completely shift the power dynamic. You demonstrate that you operate on your own timeline, not theirs. In that pause, ask yourself, does this person's opinion have the power to change who I actually am? If a stranger told you the sun was shining at midnight, you wouldn't argue. You'd simply recognize their confusion. Disrespect is often just confusion projected outward. By pausing, you remain the observer rather than becoming a participant in their drama. The second principle is mental reframing. When someone hurls an insult, they're trying to dump their internal chaos onto you. A student of Stoicism examines the insult by stripping away the emotion and looking only at the facts. If someone calls you incompetent, you ask, is there any truth here? If there is, they've actually helped you by highlighting something to improve. If there isn't, they're simply lying. And a lie about you says nothing about your actual worth. You must learn to see insults like sudden weather. You don't get angry at rain for being wet. You simply decide whether to grab an umbrella or walk through it. The insult is external. Your suffering is an internal choice. You cannot stop the rain, but you can choose not to drown in it. The third method is what we might call compassionate detachment. This requires recognizing that anyone who spends their energy trying to tear others down is deeply unsettled within themselves. Truly confident, high-character individuals don't need to belittle anyone. Only the insecure, the envious, or the wounded seek to inflict pain. When you encounter disrespect, try shifting your perspective from anger to a quiet, detached understanding. That person is trapped in a cycle of negativity that you're free from. When you see their struggle instead of their strength, their words lose all their poison. You realize you're not the target. You're just a screen onto which they're projecting their own inner turmoil. The fourth technique is the power of deliberate silence. We often feel that if we don't respond, we've lost something. But in reality, the most devastating response to disrespect is often no response whatsoever. To argue is to give the other person's words legitimacy. It grants them a seat at your table. When you offer a calm, steady gaze and then simply return to what you were doing, you're communicating something far more powerful than any comeback could. Their behavior is so insignificant it doesn't even warrant your attention. You're effectively saying, your attempt to disturb me has failed so completely that I'm not even offended. This is the ultimate demonstration of personal authority. It shows that your peace is not for sale, and certainly not at the bargain price of a petty remark. The fifth and final principle involves examining your own ego. Often, our anger at being disrespected has less to do with the insult itself, and more to do with our own vanity. We feel our image has been damaged. But what is an image? It's a shadow, a ghost that lives inside other people's heads. You cannot control what others think of you, and trying to do so is a form of insanity. A Stoic finds their dignity not in reputation, but in their own choices and actions. If you've acted with integrity, if you've remained disciplined, if you've kept your word, then no amount of external noise can diminish you. Use moments of disrespect as an opportunity to check whether you become too attached to others' approval. If you have, the insult becomes a kind of medicine, reminding you that your true worth is found within, not in the applause of the crowd. Putting these principles into practice isn't about becoming emotionless, it's about becoming the master of your own emotional machinery. It starts with the body. When you feel that surge of heat, that impulse to defend, you must breathe. Feel the tension in your hands and consciously release it. Recognize that the urge to win the verbal exchange is a trap designed to pull you down to the level of the person provoking you. You win the moment you decide that your character matters more than your ego. Dignity isn't something others give you. It's something you maintain for yourself. It's the one asset that can never be stolen. As you move through life, you'll encounter people who test your boundaries. They'll use words, gestures, and silence itself to try and provoke a reaction. See these moments not as threats, but as training opportunities. Each insult is a weight in the gym of your soul. Each act of disrespect is a chance to prove to yourself that you remain in control. You are the architect of your emotional landscape. You decide what moves you and what stays outside the gates. True maturity is realizing you have a choice. You can be the person who reacts, who shouts, who loses sleep over the opinions of the small-minded. Or you can be the person who stands like a mountain, watching the clouds pass, completely unaffected by the weather. The world will constantly try to define you through its praise and its criticism. Your job is to remain centered enough to hear the quieter truth that comes from within. You are the sovereign of your own mind. Start acting like it. If you're ready to claim this internal order, let this moment be your commitment to personal sovereignty. If this video added value to your life, hit the like button to help others on Mindshift Philosophy find this path, and subscribe if you're ready to master your inner world while others lose theirs. Comment unmoved if you stayed until the end.